Dilapidated ruins contain history unseen by the public. As urban explorers, the forgotten draws us to rediscover what otherwise would just vanish. For almost 150 years, tunnels were dug here, and coal was produced. This is an old mine. Parts of this massive compound could be preserved, but not all of it. These are the neglected remains, falling apart day by day. We came here to document as long as it's still there.
Sasch, pass auf da unten. Ab hier wird's nicht mehr so stabil.
Climbing these rusty structures, we realized maybe it's even too late already. So we time traveled to a past when this place was defining the future of the whole country. This is what we found. Abandoned places are time capsules that contain the past, present, and future. As urban explorers, we reveal these hidden worlds. The location from today's video made it inside our brand new 2022 Urban Exploration calendar. We've picked our favorite shots from the past year and printed them along with stories from our travels. You can order it now in English or German language on our webshop at bwturbex.com. With your purchase, you help us to create more videos like this. Thank you. Once, this was a landmark that created thousands of jobs, as well as contributing to the prosperity in all of France. But nowadays, this huge mine lies idle. As modern society is forgetting its industrial heritage and how it's connected to humankind's story, we urban explorers want to reclaim it. So we set out on another journey through time, hoping to find out more about how the past created who we are today. For our exploration, we'll focus on this part of the mine, a large brick building with a tall shaft tower next to it. Not sure how we will get in there though. Today the compound is surrounded by a public park. We arrived early to avoid prying eyes.
Hier ist ein Seil.
Low-key, we are looking for traces that explorers before us left behind. And we are in. Or at least, we are under our target destination now. We have to find a way up. There are a bunch of decommissioned train wagons here. And this makes total sense, because from here, freight trains delivered coal from the mine to desired locations. This was basically the final step of production. During this exploration, we'll track the path of coal, but backward. We start here, with the evacuation of the mineral, and end at the shaft where it arrived on the surface. But this is an unexpected find right away. There are also plenty of passenger trains, just rotting away. They were probably used somewhere else, then dumped here and by now forgotten. These wagons won't go anywhere anymore. Even the railway tracks were started to be dismantled. Okay, so how to get up now? Demolition started a while back, so there aren't stairs anymore. And Toby is already waiting upstairs. But to get there, we have to be a bit resourceful. There will be a lot of climbing stairs today. This place is many stories high.
Ah, hier würde ich weg von der Stelle. Da, wir sind übereinsichtig. Ich gehe mal da hoch.
Remains of conveyors. Also some silos. This is where coal had been processed before it was loaded into the cargo trains.
Alter, was ist das denn? Das sieht aus wie eine riesige Klaue.
We need to find a way up to get an overview, but this is a maze. This could work. This place is completely perforated by rust. So don't do something like this yourself if you don't feel safe. We've heard of a teenage explorer who fell through a corroded grit here not that long ago. He dropped a dozen meters and had some serious injuries. Never forget that urbex can be a dangerous activity.
Shit, ist das riesig. Sasch, pass auf da unten. Ab hier wird es nicht mehr so stabil.
We will tell you everything about this place. What this is that we are seeing and what its story is. In a bit. We thought we would be on the top already, but as it seems, we can get even higher.
Hier runter, so ein bisschen wie so ein Labyrinth. Hier runter, dann nach rechts, links, runter, hoch, dann diese Treppe, dann sind wir in irgendeinem Raum und von dort geht eine Leiter aufs Dach. Muss ja echt immer irgendwie ein bisschen gucken, wenn man so einen Punkt sieht, wo man hin will, dass man erstmal den Weg überhaupt findet.
Ja, man kann nicht einfach gerade drauf zulaufen wie sonst.
Okay. So anhand der Fußspuren und so sieht man eigentlich auch echt, dass hier regelmäßig Leute richtig frisch.
Ja, die Frage ist nur, sind das irgendwelche Urbexer oder sind das Arbeiter? Immer schön ganz links und ganz rechts laufen, damit es in der Mitte nicht durchbrechen kann. Was zur Hölle ist das?
Krähe. Aber wahrscheinlich unten bei den Waggons, oder? Es hört sich an, als ob es direkt ist. Da ganz hinten ist noch eine Zeche. Ich glaube nicht, dass man es auf der Kamera sieht, aber echt, dieses ganze Gebiet hier ist so voller Industrie.
Again, we are in Lorraine, a French region at the border of Germany. This is where a lot of the old industry is located. In episode 3 of the series, we already featured a colossal steel mill nearby. This time, however, we travel to the town of Vorbach, where this museum is located. Yes, it's a museum actually, at least parts of it, not where we entered. It's called Le Parc Explore Wendel, and they work on preserving the memory of this site. I guess it's time for another one of our history lessons again. In the 1850s, industrialization began in the area and the first coal was mined. Following that, the shafts of this mine were sunk between 1860 and 1890. A shaft is a vertical tunnel leading hundreds of meters underground to transport miners, materials and minerals. They were digging for black coal, most of which was to be used as fuel and consequently replaced wood. Coal became the main source of energy for iron and steel production, mechanical engineering, and railroads. In Europe, heavy industry was made possible by coal. A small group of countries was able to extract it, was highly industrialized as a result, and dominated the continents with its colonies and investments. This economic power still holds today. So it's also the miners to whom we owe our wealth here in the West. For them it was hard work though, and exhausting. They often suffered from heat and didn't see daylight for hours on end. Every now and then a tunnel collapsed and buried miners. Working in such adverse conditions often led to miners' illnesses. Chronic respiratory diseases, anemia, worms, and tuberculosis, to name but a few.
Was man durch die großen Maschinen durchlaufen.
Alles so überdimensioniert hier.
Du musst hier das Loch filmen.
Wow. Ich glaube, das hätte ich nicht gesehen.
Nee? Hast du da nicht drauf geguckt? Gehst du da rüber?
Nachdem wir jetzt eine Weile alles erkundet haben hier, wollte ich anfangen zu filmen. Mich umgeschaut, weil ich vergessen hatte, wo ich mein Zeug deponiert habe. Da ist es. Keine Ahnung, wie ich jetzt hier runterkomme, deswegen einfach schöne Abkürzung nehmen, wie man das so macht hier in diesem Abenteuerspielplatz.
Climbing the structures is definitely a lot of fun. But we always have to be aware of the fact that large parts are just very rusty and dangerous. Stairs and catwalks are rotten and could disintegrate just by a touch.
Hier waren dann wahrscheinlich die Aufenthaltsräume für die Arbeiter.
Corroded and deserted, this formerly busy plant is now close to collapsing. But the legacy is present, such as this metal pit frame from the 1880s. It's the oldest one in Lorraine still preserved. Also, more parts of the mine could be saved, with its story being told to curious museum visitors daily. Until the time of World War I, production here increased rapidly. But with the Second World War, it stagnated. To revive the economy of war-torn France, significantly more coal had to be mined. Within less than 10 years, coal production in Lorraine tripled. In the 50s, a third mine shaft was sunk here, together with a highly modern coal washing plant. That's the big building we are in.
Wir haben jetzt ein bisschen recherchiert und probiert herauszufinden, wie so eine Zeche in ihrer Grundfunktionsweise funktioniert. Das ist ganz interessant. Die Zeche ist unterteilt in zwei Hauptteile. Einmal den unterirdischen Teil, der ist aber in dem Fall und eigentlich wie bei jeder anderen Zeche, die wir bisher erkundet haben, dicht, weil einfach der Schacht dicht gemacht wurde. Und dann haben wir hier noch den oberirdischen Teil, sogenannte Tagesanlage.
This is a huge mine. In 1960, up to 10,000 tons of coal could be extracted here per day, with a workforce of 5,000 miners. Obviously, that needed a lot of infrastructure above ground. But now imagine what it must look like below the surface. You can't see it, but it's basically all hollowed out. Part of the production process was the coal preparation plant, or coal washing plant as we called it before. This is what operations looked like at a similar plant in Lorraine. The mined coal was separated into different qualities. Unwanted components were removed during this procedure. Through the silos, the final product was transferred to the waiting train cars.
Jedes von diesen Bergwerken hatte auch wie eine Art eigene Kläranlage oder manchmal auch einen Kühlteich. Das, was wir draußen sehen, dieses große, runde Betonbecken, muss eine Kläranlage gewesen sein. Und wir haben gelesen, dass das zum einen verwendet wurde für das Grubenwasser und ich vermute auch für das Waschwasser, also das Wasser, was hier angefallen ist in diesem Produktionsschritt, als man die Kohle von dem Taubengestein getrennt hat und gewaschen hat.
Often there were also fine particles of coal in the muddy water. Modern technology made it possible to separate the coal, so it wouldn't be wasted.
Irgendwo auf diesem Gelände muss dann noch die Carreau sein. Das ist der Bereich, wo die Minenarbeiter sich umgezogen haben, wo die sich fertig gemacht haben für das Arbeiten unter Tage. Ich gehe davon aus, dass es auch drüben ist, in dem Museumsteil. Deswegen werden wir das wahrscheinlich nicht sehen können. Wir waren neulich erst in Westdeutschland in der Carreau, da konnte man das noch ziemlich gut sehen, wie das alles aussieht.
These are buckets where miners stored their clothes. Due to the slightly higher temperatures under the ceiling, the clothes could dry and air more quickly if they were damp. Before starting their shift, miners undressed in a separate coop, then went to the second one where their work clothes were. When the job was done, this procedure went the other way around, but with showering in between. This system was efficient and sanitary, and dirty miners would never meet workers with clean clothes. Okay, we've been in the coal handling plant long enough now. It's time to show you another part of this mine. We've been searching for a while to find them, but here they are. The ore carts that transported coal. Again, we can only get there after completing an agility test. This is the part of the mine where the coal was unloaded.
Diese runden Dinger sind wahrscheinlich dazu da gewesen, die Kohle aus den Loren auf die darunterliegenden Förderbänder zu kippen. Und zwar, wenn die Loren da dann draufgefahren sind, hat sich das Teil einfach gedreht und wie man hier sieht, gibt es dann eine Materialrutsche, wo dann das Gestein nach unten gefallen ist.
All of the minecars came from the underground tunnels where they were filled with rocks. They were brought up here by the shaft, which you will see in a minute. On a rail system, these wagons were moved further by chains. They were then flipped 180 degrees and thereby unloaded. While the contents were transported on conveyors to the processing plant, the empty wagons were sent back to the shaft on a loop trail. Following the rusty tracks for a bit and finding some still half-filled wagons on the way, we arrive at the shaft. It is shaft number 3 of this mine. So it was built the latest and is considered to be the most modern one. It's basically a giant elevator that's going hundreds of meters underground. In some mines, it can be as deep as 1,000 meters. Just imagine, that's a black hole going straight down for over 300 stories. In this case, however, it's sealed, so we can't fall down into the big nothing. The characteristic feature of a shaft is the winding tower. We will climb that now. In this case, it's 50 meters high, and meanwhile placed under monument protection. Once there were massive cables here, which ran through the shaft at a top speed of up to 15 meters per second. It needed a large hoist to raise and lower these ropes. This is what we found in another abandoned mine nearby. These machines consisted of a strong motor and a large drum that would wind the cable. Usually, these things were so big that it needed a separate building for them next to the shaft. Just soaking up some vitamin D here. Exploring in winter means you should enjoy when the sun is out for once. More than 30 years ago, operations here ceased. The economic downturn in the French coal sector had already begun in the 1960s. Mining and investment continued at the site until 1986, when the colliery was eventually closed. In the following years, a part of the infrastructure was still in use to support other mines, for example, to ventilate tunnels. The shafts of this compound were then shut, one by one. Off we go. We're leaving. There is more to explore, just not abandoned anymore. The rest of the mine can be visited in the museum part. The Park Explorer Wendel has become a place of remembrance. This mine could be preserved, at least partially. What you could see in this video was a matter of the past. Underground mining for black coal was abandoned by France in 2004, and it won't happen here ever again. Also back home in Germany, they halted this in 2018. In the last years of operation, production costs of coal were too expensive, while it could be imported at a much lower price. Old industrial structures like this are records of urban development and the progress of human civilization itself. Yet, more and more of these old industries are simply being demolished and replaced, even though most of them are the last of their kind. Instead, they should stay in between memory and transformation. Let them be remembered and restored.
If you have checked our website BWT Urbex recently, you maybe already know this. Weeks before we published our urban exploration calendar for this year, we also dropped our first fine art print collection. For this photo print series, we picked 12 of our most favorite images we took these 10 past years of exploring and printed them on premium paper. Although it's a strictly limited edition, we want to do a community raffle as part of our 2022 calendar launch. So among all the people who will purchase a calendar until the end of the year, we pick 3 random winners who will get a big fine art print for free each. I've got one of my favorite shots here, and as you can see, it's quite big. Of course, everybody who pre-ordered the calendar already is part of the raffle, that's for sure. And the raffle ends January 1st at midnight European Central Time. But there are some bad news regarding our calendar as well. Like we all know, the global pandemic is still going on today. And due to supply chain bottlenecks, the production of our calendar was massively delayed. And so is shipping. So unfortunately, we have to announce that for our international viewers, it's not very sure that your calendar will arrive before Christmas Eve. We know it's annoying, we are annoyed by that as well, but there's not much we can do about it. So please just be patient and we're gonna make sure that it's worth the wait. Okay, there's one more episode for this year. Until then, stay curious and keep exploring.
In this area of France, there are a lot of abandoned mines. It's the same when you cross the border to Germany. Let us know if we should feature another one on our channel. Also, we are happy to finally share our new Urbex calendar with you guys. We will be back with the final video of 2021 soon. Stay curious and keep exploring.